So we'll just go and do something silly for the intro to season 2.
Okay. Silly?
Yeah, be silly, spontaneous right now.
It doesn't work that way.
No, I know.
Okay.
And you were worried about the dogs.
Yeah, they're noisy.
They're an update to the plot, too. We have a new character.
Yes.
And she's growling.
They've joined the union.
So there's going to be bells and there's going to be growlies.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Chaos, total chaos, poodle chaos. I have so much to talk about.
Okay, I can see you're excited.
He's a nurse, life could be worse. She's a mess, we must confess. Welcome to My Princess Has a Mess.
Hello, and welcome to Season 2, Episode
right.
1 of My Princess Has a Mess.
And if you've never listened to our podcast before, I'm Leslie. I have MS. Brent is my co-host, husband, mental health and addictions RN. What else?
I'm the techie guy. I do the techie
Which
stuff.
is sad because usually we have to ask our adult children for help.
Dude, we're on YouTube this year.
I know.
We think, we hope.
We hope, yes. We did a whole season last year on WordPress.
Right.
We kind of piggybacked our podcast onto your writer's page, but we kind of wanted to have our own space. So we are on YouTube, hopefully, as you're listening to us at the moment.
We won't know until we try to upload this to that and see if it works. But
yes, yeah.
the kids say it will be fine.
Well, if the kids say it's going to be fine, then yeah.
And they were all like, why are you on YouTube? Because people will find you and listen to you.
So some people may be listening for the first time. Like, they don't have a clue what we're about or anything. Like,
in which case, we apologize.
we do.
Because we're not making any sense now.
However, at the bottom of the screen, you should see a link.
What they say is there will be a link in the comments, in the description. There will be a link in the description, not the comments. Because we won't have comments, because comments are mean and we're not doing that.
Right.
But there will be a link in the description that will go back to season 1. And we're going to see if, how did you put it? We're going to find a 12-year-old who can help us put the old files up, and then we can load up season 1.
Yeah. We're really amateur. Like, don't have big expectations, technically.
Technically.
Okay, and that was my next point. I have MS, and one of my symptoms, and it's not every day, but of course it is right now, I have sometimes trouble getting my words out physically. Sometimes I have trouble finding my words. My voice gets hoarse sometimes, and so
And
this is
like
one of
that,
those nights.
Like
Yeah.
your thoughts will fall apart.
Yeah.
You also talk with your hands.
Yeah.
So you're going to hear a lot of tapping.
And I used to
the
be
leather
a
arm.
radio announcer, so figure that one out. That's how, devastating this is for me. But anyway.
But you were a great radio announcer.
Well, I wouldn't say great, but
you were loved and adored by countless
old ladies. And their cats.
So when you smack the arm,
Yes.
it goes off on the mic.
Okay.
So
I'll
I
try
remember this
not-
from last season. I keep talking to you about your hands. You can bat the phone off onto the floor, in which case we have to restart, but we've promised never to restart.
Yeah. Yes, that's one of our rules. I've tried to stop Brent in the middle of a podcast and say, okay, no, let's do that over again. And
It's usually when I make you cry.
yes, usually. Don't do that today.
No, who knows? But that's the thing about the show, and the people that have watched it. Listen to me. Listen to it. They know this. That's the rule. There's no script. I have some cliff notes to my left, but that's it. We're totally flying live. We don't stop and rewind the show. We don't try to fix stuff. It's all just go.
And that's the other thing. We don't have the qualifications to, and we won't ever try to give you medical or health advice. Although Brent is a mental health and addictions nurse, he can speak to some of the symptoms that accompany MS, like depression, OCD, some of the other comorbidities. I guess you would call them. Is that what you would call them
Well,
in the nursing world?
yeah, the complications and side effects from
Right.
the disease, and if anybody goes back and listens to season 1, they'll hear a host of stuff. But
And I suggest you do, because
we both suggest you do.
yes,
It'd
because
be
you'll get a
great
better idea of what we are.
I'm also told we are hilarious and cute.
Oh, great!
Those
great.
are the
You
those
just
are the things
jinxed
we're-
us.
Well, it doesn't. They can't tell us because we've disabled the comments.
Some days I don't feel
Hilarious and
hilarious and cute. Like
cute. You're not. Some
That-
days you are not.
that may explain why we've been on a hiatus for 11 months. I don't even know where that time went.
Well, yeah, that's going to require an explanation.
Well, part of my MS is, and trust me, I'm not going to like put you through all my symptoms and lists of ailments every week. That's not the goal. But the reason partly why we've been on a hiatus over the last 11 months is I just didn't feel like doing it. I've been having worsening symptoms with fatigue and depression, and
Your balance is awful.
my balance is terrible, my vision, my speech.
That's the other thing you're going to note too. Part of the agreement to do this was that not only is it an activity that you really enjoy, and I've noticed in the last week you've already sort of gotten a little bit of excitement
Yeah.
back, but also to be completely upfront about MS and what it does to people, because it does
Right.
it doesn't do anybody any service to gloss over a health condition.
Right.
So-
And actually, that's one of my goals this year. Like, I think we should commit to doing a weekly podcast, regardless of how I'm feeling or you're feeling. I know that's easier said than done, but there are days when
Looking at you with some seriously raised eyebrows.
I know you are. I said I'm going to try to commit to that.
I don't think that's what you said.
Oh,
I think you said going to commit.
well, hold me to it.
All right.
Because I used to feel in the past, well, I can't do an episode today because I'm too sad, or I'm too depressed, or I'm too fatigued. Well, guess what? Welcome to MS, you know?
Okay.
And,
Cool.
you know, some weeks will be funny and on top of it and informative, and other weeks,
I'm going to be cranky and tired, if that's the case. Sometimes. Some weeks.
you?
Yeah. It's been a rough year.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And we've got lots of new stuff to talk about.
Yep.
Yeah, like tonight I think we're going to keep it kind of
Fluffy.
fluffy, but just kind of catch people up a little bit on what we are, because if you're just listening for the first time ever, you might not know a few things. Like we don't just talk about MS. Sometimes we, or I shouldn't say we don't just talk about MS, but a lot of what we talk about applies to people with a multitude of autoimmune issues or
Any long-term
chronic disability or
yeah.
yeah. And we you know, sometimes we come up with you know, we'll tell you what our strategies are, not that they're medically sanctioned or you know,
It's just
tested, just what works for us. It's about us as a couple, and the fact that I do have MS and, you know, depression and OCD and all those other things, and just kind of letting people know that, you know, you can get through it, and we try to get through it with humor.
we try.
We try, yeah.
And sometimes we can't, and sometimes if content about the podcast gets dark, we both agreed to just have to deal with that, because that's life too.
Right, so don't expect every week to be light and fluffy. Some weeks we cry. Some weeks we share too much information. I think a lot of times we do, but I don't know. I'm somebody who always shares too much information. I think it embarrasses my family, but I don't care. I just, that's me. I have no issues sharing whatever you want to know, you know, and this year, something that we didn't do last year is I would encourage people to contact me, email me. I don't want this to always be just about us. Like some of you may have have things that you want to discuss.
If you're
Topics
if
that
you're a
you-
person who's been newly diagnosed and don't know what the hell you're looking at, and what it could mean to you, we can't give you, as Leslie said, we can't give you any medical advice, but we can sure as heck answer questions, and we can even answer them on the show.
Kind of like a support team.
Yeah.
Yeah. In a podcast.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
If that's the role of the show.
Yeah. So, I mean, and I love getting email. I doubt I'll get so much that I can't keep up with it. So don't worry about that. According to WordPress, which I still don't believe we
You
have.
think it's a conspiracy theory?
I don't know. They say we have listeners in Vietnam and China and all over the place.
If I may, the stats that are generated by WordPress give you a global map. And a little bit of background about the podcast. We started it, I don't know, 2 years ago?
No. Last year was our first full season.
And then we took a year off.
Yeah.
That's 2 years.
11 months, yeah.
Okay. So in that short time, the podcast kind of exploded. Now, we're not, James Corden or anything, but we had an amazing number of hits, and we will be migrating the podcast back onto that website at the same time. It's just we wanted to figure out how YouTube works. But we really did have kind of a global audience. Like, there were countries all around the world with a lot of listening hits in each area. Canada has our biggest, fan base group. Whatever, I guess. I don't know what
Our
what
parents
I
and
our parents move around a lot throughout Canada and listen. They listen to the website at different locations, and then it looks really good. But we had a lot of love from the States, and like China, Russia, Japan. It was everywhere. So I'm super excited because I want to get back to looking at that map. I'm a tech nerd, and I love seeing that we're there's only one way to find out if people have actually listened to the podcast. They listen through it, and then the stat goes in. That's how WordPress works. So on the map itself, you can literally see like people in Germany, England, Poland, Russia, and China have listened to this podcast, which I think is amazing.
I was going to say Germany because we have a friend Irene in Germany. Hi, Irene.
We got yours stolen. I think I got Radina's stolen too. I've eaten both of them. By the way.
I don't think you did get. No, Mom didn't share hers with
I
us.
got two. I got two.
I think she sent two.
Irene is so cool, and she makes every Christmas. She makes homemade stolen and sends it, and I eat it.
Yes.
Like a wolf.
Yeah. Well,
Because
yes.
it's awesome.
Because you are a wolf.
Okay. I'll take it.
I just throw that in there. I don't know. So yeah, those are, some of the things that we're going to try and do is, stay committed and not have an 11-month hiatus ever again.
We went to Mar-a-Lago and we,
Yeah, right.
got our nails done. It took some time and selfies with
we went to Cuba.
celebrities.
Didn't we go to Cuba? And...
I don't remember Cuba. Maybe we went and I was just blacked out the entire time. And,
no, we didn't go anywhere. As a matter of fact,
nobody went anywhere.
As a matter of fact, I actually wrote down
this is going to be good.
In the last 11 months, I've been out of the house for 1 hair appointment, 2 or 3 dental appointments, an eye exam, and a date with you to Value Village, and once to Walmart. The Value Village thing turned out to be awesome because I got a $2.99 pair of that's our dog Rio. She's a toy poodle. Of poodle slippers. Oh, it's Kiva. I didn't know who was sitting on my lap. So and then we had coffee and went and I think we mentioned that last
I don't think
episode.
We did. No, it was a large time.
Well, we went for coffee, and instead of parking by the marina, we parked at the Jeep dealership. Again, yeah, we do that.
Value Village was a different day.
Yeah.
A lot has changed. But Value Village was great fun that day because everything is straight lines and you couldn't get lost. And you were like a kid at a flea market. You hadn't been out, and I just let you go. And like you didn't have to worry about banging into anything because the aisles are so wide, and you could just go through all the aisles. We have to go back.
Yeah.
You have to go back. And you found, and I couldn't believe it. I'm a big fan of like miniatures and, anything like that. Big castles. I'm big on castles. You found a Lilliput Lane Windsor castle that was worth, back in the day when I couldn't afford to collect these, I'm pretty sure it was like $350 or $400, and you found one.
I don't think
for like
so.
$3.
I don't think they're worth that much, dear. I looked them up online.
They were back then. Back then, they were expensive.
Oh, okay. They do not make them anymore, so maybe now the value
And they're
is
super rare,
increased.
yeah. So now I have two. I have Erskine Croft and I have Windsor Castle, which is like amazing.
So it was a bonus day.
It was a large day.
But other than that,
big old trip to Valley Village.
Other than that, I for a short time I went back to wearing pants.
Okay.
But now I'm just like, why bother?
Why bother?
I don't go anywhere, and so yeah, I'm in my PJs right now and living the life. I and that's another thing. I hardly notice that we're in
A global pandemic of self-isolation.
This is how I've always lived.
Yeah, I don't know if that's healthy. I haven't decided yet.
No, well, they say it's not.
I know it's not.
Yeah, they say it's not.
So, a couple things have changed. Global pandemic, complete shutdown of the planet. Global warming slowed down or something like that. The ozone layer, or something, I forget what that one was. Now we're in the variant stage. I went back to get some background and listen to some of the other podcasts. And
I was listening to.
No idea what we were rolling into, but I'm proud of the fact that I wasn't completely off on most of the information. We had good, solid research a year ago that was telling us what we were rolling into, and now here we are. The variants, by the way, guys, the variants are not a surprise. They were predicted by the Imperial College report. Sorry. And so now it's just, I wouldn't call this wave 2, but it's time to buckle down a little tighter and just ride this out as the vaccines make their way to us. And as always, I think we're going to be okay. We're going to be fine. It was worse than we thought, but it wasn't as bad as it could have been. That's for certain. So that's good. Joe Biden is president now. That's cool. I'm just saying it's cool.
We have no biases.
No. Well, no. Okay.
No.
No biases. And we have a poodle. So
a new poodle. We already had one.
Right. So we're the parents of 2 kids and the fur parents. What do they call them?
Yeah, they're fur babies.
Fur babies of 2 poodles.
A toy and a mini.
Which is funny. And there's a whole story behind that, and we probably don't have time to get into that. My Mother's Day gift from you to me. We should probably do a whole show on that.
No, it was your birthday gift, but
it was Mother's Day, wasn't it?
We did pick her up on Mother's Day.
Right. So I'm calling it. I'm her mother. I'm calling it.
Okay.
It's 2021. I can call myself whatever I want.
Okay.
And,
yeah.
The thing is, she's the size of a meatloaf. she's so small. So I'm doing this whole thing now.
We should have renamed her Meatloaf.
I'm shaving my head completely. My head is shaved. I've got a big old biker beard. I've got the arm tattoo now. I'm going to get another one this year. I didn't tell you I was getting another tattoo.
Oh, yes.
And I've got a 3-pound miniature poodle who... Toy? She must be a toy.
I can't... Why are you asking?
Well, because I'm
this.
excited I forget.
Yes, she's a toy, and our other
Kiva's
is a mini.
Mini, right. And she's just a big ball of fun, and she's like one of the best things that have ever happened to me in the last 5 years.
And she howls like a...
Wolf,
yeah.
Although a tiny wolf.
Yeah.
Whenever I leave,
yeah.
Apparently.
Or if she's alone, so...
She does other things when she's alone, too, which is...
we won't get it.
Which is sad. But, when I leave the house, she's miserable, and she howls, and then I come home, and she's happy, and I have never seen a dog so instantly attached, and we want to say thanks to her former mom, because... she's a bright spot in our lives.
Yeah, and we got her during COVID, so it was really weird. It felt so covert, like we met in a Tim Hortons parking lot.
Drug deal.
Yeah, and I rolled down the window, and her owner passed me the dog, and I passed the dog over to you in the driver's seat, and then, we couldn't really get close to each other. I couldn't hug her or thank her that way, but and then we just drove back home with her.
Made it back home with this new little ball of fun. And what's really funny is another change. I no longer have the Jeep, so
which was never yours to begin with.
That's right. It was
babysitting.
It hurts to say.
Well, it's true.
I got it for one winter, and that was the most fun I've ever had. So I would take my little dog to get groomed, and I would pull up in this jacked up Jeep, and with the sunglasses and the shaved head and the beard, and I would take the dog in to get groomed and come out, and I like the little, I forget what they call it. I either get it a puppy cut or I get the little poofy bit where they're the teddy bear.
Yeah.
So I rolled down the back window of this big black Jeep, and I'm driving through Mahone Bay, and a guy dropped his coffee because he was laughing so hard at me. And it was
That's
awesome.
Right.
It was actually kind of awesome because, I'm, as you say so many times, I'm intense.
Yes, you are.
But then here's this little tiny golf ball head sticking out of the back of this Jeep that says he really doesn't take himself that seriously. So.
Well, I'd say her head's a little bigger than a golf ball.
Okay. Lemon, orange, maybe an orange.
Probably a grapefruit or an orange. Yeah.
Grapefruit.
And I'm sure that intrigues our listeners.
Well, this is what it's like.
Yeah.
It's live with no script, so I never said we knew what we were doing.
If you came here for intrigue,
You're going to the wrong place. Get out of here.
Go listen to Joe Rogan or something.
You can do that if you want to. The other thing is we often have like tea and stuff going while we're doing our podcast. You hear little clinks once in a while. That's just us putting the teacups down. The dog may go bananas and bark at a walker outside the window, though we try to tape after dark so that that doesn't happen.
They can't see.
Yeah. And generally, as long as they're being snuggled, they're quiet, so they seem pretty good.
You had me. You were...
I had you. It doesn't happen very often.
No. We've just lost our whole new
yeah,
audience
but we gained a bunch new ones too. They're like, okay, I'm out.
You were on a train of thought, and it triggered something in me, and I lost it already.
It wasn't the sound of my voice.
No.
You had me, Brent.
Okay, let's not be too crazy here.
Well, that's why we're here.
Okay.
To be too crazy.
I just wanted to, sympathize with people who have not just MS, but like I said, other chronic illnesses. It's challenging enough to have those issues, but to go through them during COVID, it's just, wow. Like, it just takes it to the next level because I don't know about any of you listening who might have chronic illnesses or who have loved ones with them. But for me, not leaving the house is, well, it's a safety thing for me. I fear hospitals germ-wise at the best of times.
Yeah.
I'm allergic to a few different medications, and my biggest fear, even prior to COVID, was to get some kind of a virus or something, and I'd have to take an antibiotic, or that I would, that I would have anaphylaxis or
to the antibiotic.
Right, because I have as a child.
Yeah.
Oops, I slammed my hand again.
You
I'm
didn't slam
so
it.
sorry. So I sympathize with people who are, immunocompromised and,
scared.
Scared because it sounded like I said scared. I meant...
You didn't say scared.
Scared.
Leslie's big on tracking semantics. You're very precise with your semantics.
I try to be.
Yes.
As I was saying. But there are, for people like us who have these conditions, you still have some appointments that you can't do over the telephone. Like some people still have to go for MRIs. I think
you're way overdue for yours.
well, and I don't know if it's going to happen again soon because I've had no contact with my neurologist. I don't know.
That's all backlogged now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my last MRI was March 4th last year. So, and COVID had just begun, and I was nervous about, being in that environment. And I know that people with autoimmune deficiencies, I know a lot of them are very nervous about going out in public at the best of times and coming into contact with some kind of an illness. But now, more so than ever, I mean, now we have cases where there's been no known contact with somebody. It's just, it's in the community. How would you explain that? It's
Well, with the variants, it increases the likelihood of transmission, right? So the new variants are more contagious, which means that it's far more difficult to track where it came from. So all of a sudden, pop, there's these little blisters of events. And contact tracing is a thing, but it's often impossible to determine. If you have a highly contagious pathogen, it can be impossible to determine where that came from. Although, well, I shouldn't say possible, I should say very difficult, because if they looked hard enough and had the time and resources, they could probably find it. So we're in a new stage. It's a lot like trying to figure out where you got your cold.
right.
Or like years ago, where did I get the flu? We know where you got the flu. You got the flu by either touching your hands to your face, or you didn't wash your hands, or somebody breathed on you who had a highly contagious flu, and you caught it. And that's what's happening now, and that is what they predicted would take place. The trick is now, though, we're so close to getting a vaccine, is that people are starting to relax.
Right.
And I saw a rally. There was a report on a rally in Edmonton, Alberta, not Edmonton. Might have been Edmonton, with flags of "He Who Shall Not Be Named," and they were, screaming about anti-masking and things like that. Those are becoming supercluster events very quickly because of the new variants. So it's hard, especially for somebody who is frightened by any of this or who's concerned about their immunology. But now is the time to just hold on for 3 or 4 more months, just to keep it together, because as the vaccines roll out, we're going to start to weaken the transmission of this thing and actually get on top of it in a really great way. This time next year will be completely different from this time this year. We just need to hold on.
I'm holding you to that.
Well, okay, yeah.
But, some of these side effects of MS and probably other things like Parkinson's and ALS and things like that. I know for sure, though, with MS, we have swallowing issues sometimes. We have breathing issues. I don't have breathing issues, but I do have swallowing issues. The thought of catching COVID and having to be intubated, or is that the right word?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. Just checking. Like that frightens me. And so that's why I stay in the house. I actually haven't engaged with family members even. And I feel bad, but that's how strict I'm going to be with this, because I personally, I have a lot of anxiety issues as well. I'm a wreck, basically.
I believe in the jingle we say you're a mess.
Yeah.
Hot mess.
I wrote the jingle, so
let's be clear about that.
So it's such a scary time for people with chronic illnesses, and I do sympathize with all of you if that's your situation. And I know a lot of people don't have spousal support systems.
I don't give you any of mine.
Or, any kind of family support, or, and I used to as I've mentioned in past episodes, I used to belong to some online groups where people had MS and other chronic illnesses, and I had to quit them because it's not nice to say, but they were bringing me down. And yet, it's not their fault. But most of the people on those groups were there because they didn't have any other support. They would talk about, how their husbands would be upset that they didn't have supper on the table on a certain day or at a certain time, or their older children were upset because they wouldn't babysit their children for them, their grandchildren, and there's people out there whose family members think they're lying or that they're lazy, that they just need to push through, and that's not true, and it's sad that there's people that's their day-to-day existence,
And that adds to their fight too.
Yeah.
That must be exhausting.
Yeah. I know for me, I used to have MS episodes, I guess, relapses. I find, and I'll only know for sure, I guess, if I have another MRI and speak to my neurologist someday soon. But I feel that in the last 2 years, I've had symptoms that don't come and go anymore. They're there. The fatigue is there, and it's so hard to fight through it. I have other issues, the depression. I've had 2 major depressive episodes in the last 2 years, or the last year actually, and have had to have my meds switched around, and was almost hospitalized on a couple of occasions. Thankfully, because Brent's a nurse, they let me go home and
I don't know why they trusted me.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
One look at me, I wouldn't have gone home.
But I've had to have, family come help me, Brent's mom.
Which we should...
We already did a whole show on that. We'll talk about it later. But
yeah, we should...
I think next week we could do
pull the trigger on her coming.
Yeah, we'll see.
To visit. Yeah.
We'll see.
Oh, I was going to try and get you to commit on tape so she could hear it.
No, I'm not going to commit to anything on tape.
Speaking of support, I don't mean to cut you off, but you had mentioned about the email address.
Yes.
And then we kind of spooled off.
Oh, right. Give them the email address.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
So the email address is all one word, and it's Princess Has MS, all small letters. Nicely done. At gmail.com. So myprincesshasms@gmail.com.
I'd love to hear from you. I love getting to know other people's stories. And it doesn't have to be MS. It could be, if you want to talk about depression or OCD, I have that too.
But don't send anything nasty, because if you do,
I'll cry.
And I'll delete you.
Yeah, I'm very sensitive.
And I'm very protective.
Okay, yeah.
So.
But you did cut me off. What was I saying?
I did. I know you were talking about people having chronic conditions, and how it must be scary. And your symptoms have worsened, which...
Right.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
See, I'm a good listener.
Wow, that's unusual.
It's what I do for a living.
Yes, but you don't do it at home very well.
Nice.
It's true.
Ouch.
Yeah, okay, we'll talk about that another episode.
Husband Listening, episode 4, season 2.
I don't know if you can hear Kiva, she's growling. Not growling, really moaning.
I think she's telling us to move on.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't like it when you insult my listening skills.
Yeah, she definitely doesn't like it when she's not the center of attention.
I don't know about that, but...
Well, she likes to have a lot of attention. But,
worsening symptoms.
Yes, my symptoms have... Focusing is one of my symptoms that I have. Lack of focus. And I've noticed so much lately that I can't keep on task. I start 2 or 3 different things in the kitchen at the same time.
Recipes are a nightmare to watch.
Oh my gosh, I've ruined recipes. And I could cook pretty well years ago. Like,
Yeah. My
Like-
God, your meatballs were like sweet and sour meatballs. I still dream of that.
well, I mean, and I still will make those. But I mean, I remember making Mexican bean salad. I realized, I didn't double. I was doubling the recipe, and I hadn't doubled the pepper. So
Oh,
what did I do?
you
Instead of just
Quadrupled
adding the
it.
other half, I doubled it again, and it was
sporty.
yeah. And like, I'll be in the kitchen, I'll go to get something out of the fridge, leave it open because I at that moment think, okay, I'm going right back there. Then I get distracted and let the dogs outside to pee. Then I go and make a cup of coffee and have my medicine. And then I realize, oh my gosh, the door to the fridge is open. I'll come in and have my coffee and realize I forgot that I put the dogs out. But, thankfully they're penned in on our patio. But that wasn't me 3 years ago. It is me now. And I don't find that that's episodic anymore.
Episodic.
Is that a word that I just made up?
I would no. I'd say acute.
Okay.
These are acute episodes, and it seems more chronic now.
I don't find them very cute.
You're always cute, but
No, the episodes.
even sometimes they are cute. Although I don't like watching it bounce off the wall.
No, and that's my balance has become a real issue. I've fallen down stairs many times over the past 5 years, but the last time I fell was the day we went and picked up Rio. It was Mother's Day, and May 11th. I remember it. I think that was my last fall. And I still cannot feel the tissue around my knee.
Oh, that was up in your room. Yeah. when you got
Yeah,
out
it
of
was
bed.
6 a.m, and I was still heavily medicated from my bedtime meds.
But also, and we talked about this before in season 1, your eyeballs don't work. You have one that's constricted and one's dilated, and it takes like 20 minutes or something for the other one to match. So you can only see out of one
I've
eye.
never timed it, but I mean, I can't see. I don't feel like I can focus out of both eyes equally at the same time. So a lot of times people think I'm winking at them, but I'm looking at them with one eye because that's how I can focus. And I've had an eye exam recently. I have one every year, and my vision hadn't changed from the previous year. And she concluded that it was an MS thing. So it was a brain thing.
But I remember checking on you one morning, and I pointed out to you that your pupils are different sized. And then a couple mornings in a row, I checked that. And it's the same for, like, I don't know how long because I don't hang around long enough to find out. But if one eye is dilated and it's being blinded, then that's you getting out of bed and trying to walk a straight line. I don't know how you do that.
I don't. I zigzag.
Right.
But,
right.
I'm used to it. Yeah. So
So-
that, and there have been other things as well that have gotten worse, like my depression, for instance. And
It's gotten more constant, but it's not as bad as it was at the worst case.
oh my God, the 2 major episodes I was speaking of lasted a good month each, and I cried every day. And I was just, it would get to the point I was like, I couldn't comfort myself or soothe myself, and I would have to go to the hospital. Usually they said take Ativan, and
It was 2 summers ago. Yeah.
yeah, but twice more since then. I haven't had to like go to the hospital, but
No.
twice more since then.
Because
I've had the same episode, but now I'm on better medications.
Yeah, more appropriate medications
Yeah.
that try and stabilize that mood, and they have worked. That's the other thing that's really important to get out there with MS. At each stage in symptom management, it's important to have a really good relationship with either a psychiatrist or a doctor who can adjust your medications to react to the phase that you've entered, because that's what's worked well for you, for sure. Right? In the middle of a pandemic, you haven't had to go back to the resources that we were looking at, maybe like hospitalization for you, in the middle of all the stressing things that have happened. And, it's been a depressing time. So despite all that, the medications have managed to keep you more or less afloat.
Yeah, I'm not, I always use the number system when I have I'm very fortunate to be able to meet with my psychiatrist and my GP over the telephone. I love that. I wish it was always like that. And I can keep it really brief. I've got my notes in front of me, but I always tell my psychiatrist, like, I'm a 7 out of 10 lately, or a 5, or are you going to, I thought you were going to sneeze.
No.
Okay. So I would say the medications are working. They haven't eliminated.
No.
But I don't care. I just don't want to go back to where I was before, which was like a 1, or like
it's a very scary time.
Not being able to control your own mind. I have to say, for me, that's the scariest feeling. And not being able to turn off your thoughts and having cyclical thoughts and just the fear. When you're in that moment or those moments, you don't realize that, everyone says to you, it's going to pass, it's going to be better. And medical people told me that, and I'm like, you don't understand, but it does. Here I am today. I'm not where I was 2 years ago in July, crying in the hot tub, The
other part too is that we got your insomnia more or less under control. You still have spurts where you go through 3 days without sleeping, but you're not going for weeks and weeks and weeks without sleeping. So that helped stabilize a lot of that mood instability too. Mm-hmm.
And I'm still this whole hiatus, the whole, with COVID and everything, a lot has changed, but a lot hasn't changed.
It's such a fancy word.
What?
We have hiatuses, or hiatus. We're so fancy.
That's how I would describe us. Yes, we're very fancy. Yeah.
We take hiatus.
Okay, I was trying to be serious.
I know. I'm interjecting levity.
Oh, okay. We need that sometimes. Yeah.
I'll decide when we need that.
Will you?
No, because you're like the lightest person. You're the one. Your laughter is what cracks the show.
Well, that was one of my goals, to not laugh as much this year, because I'm getting sick. We were re-listening to old podcasts, and I was like, oh my God.
Will she just stop with the laughter and joy and the brightness?
No, but
oh my God.
It's, I do laugh too much. But
I'm getting my agent to talk to you, because I did notice that you laugh over my bits.
Oh, we're not getting equal.
So the agent's going to have to come in and correct that, Missy, because there'll be none of that.
Okay. Wow.
Okay, how can I sell ads if they can't hear my bits?
Right. We'll just gloss over that comment. Anyway. And we never said that we would be appropriate either, so just be warned.
Yeah, we're not good at that part. Although, in general, it's family friendly.
I think so.
We do a pretty good job.
Yeah.
If anybody wants a good cry, go back and listen to season 1 of the Valentine's Day special. I just listened to that, and it teared me up.
Anyway,
cheered you up,
I was right in the middle of something.
I'm sorry.
And I have focus issues.
Yeah.
So it's very inconsiderate of you to derail me like that.
I also have a list. What did I do to derail you?
You spoke in the middle of my sentence.
I'm sorry. Did I cut you off?
Yeah, I now I'm having trouble remembering what I was saying.
Well, can I talk about what I've seen that's worse? You were talking about worsening symptoms list. That's the third prompt I've given you to remind you of the content. So, you know what, lady? It's your part of the show, okay? You got to deal with your own stuff here. Stabilizing your insomnia was one thing.
Yes,
that, yeah.
I was going to say I'm my own worst enemy. Like, so much has changed in the last 11 months and so much hasn't. Like, worldwide, in the world anyway.
In the world.
Things have changed a
widely.
lot. Yes, thank you. With COVID, everything's so different. And
Are you wearing my socks?
no, but
That's also new.
I found those in your drawer. They belong
That's
to me.
because they're mine.
No, honey, they've been my socks for like
You're wearing
10
my
years.
socks.
No. I found 3 pairs of my socks in your drawer this past week.
Impossible. Because I have no socks.
And oddly, Jake has socks missing. And I think we have a sock monster. And there you went, derailing me again. Like, this show's not going to fly. Like,
No one's going to listen to this crap.
no.
No. You were talking about worldwide.
Yes. Some of the things that haven't changed here in my little world, because it doesn't even feel any different. I don't even know, like, is social distancing still a thing?
Yeah, it's a pretty big thing.
Do they still have the, like, X's on the floors and stuff at
Yeah.
Walmart? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not that anybody pays attention to them or understands what the arrows are for, but yes, they're there.
Okay.
We don't let us not speak
we're
of
not
Walmart.
we're not going to go there.
Please.
We're not going to go there. But my sleeping habits are not MS related right now. They are totally my fault, my stupidity. I go to bed too late, like around 2 a.m.
Because you start staring into your plastic thumb box.
It's gotten to the point where I think, oh, it's only 2 a.m. and I'm turning out the light. And then I sleep late, but
Real late.
yeah,
And then the day's gone.
But see, and it partly has to do with my OCD, which some of you may be able to relate to as well. And if you can relate to OCD and want to send me off an email, I'd love to hear your story, because I like hearing about, things that I can relate to, and maybe things that have helped you or what have you. But my OCD isn't crippling. I know there are people that like lock themselves in one room and won't leave. I don't have that. It's not like a major thing, but I do have, once a year, I go on a kick. I think you'd agree. Like, one year it was cottages. I would stay up all night looking for cottages to rent for the summer. Mm-hmm. And I would have them, I'd write down pros, cons, and rating. Like, I'd rate them, and it kept my head circling all evening, like, and I couldn't sleep. Then it was looking for a new poodle. Mm-hmm. I researched, the first poodle we had, who's no longer with us. I searched for a whole year. It was the first poodle we were going to ever have, and I wanted to know everything about the breed, so it became an obsession, and then there was, the year where I just researched hair colors, because I couldn't decide what hair color I wanted next, and that's always a thing with me. But like I'm not exaggerating when I say it occupies my brain 24/7.
Oh, I know.
And now it's vintage kitchen items, and Ancestry.com. And
Dan Levy.
I only speak in Schitt's Creek gifts now. Yeah, Dan Levy, Schitt's Creek, binging that got us through some
Awful times. I want to thank Schitt's Creek.
Yes, and Dan Levy.
And yes, Dan Levy.
He's such a beautiful person.
I'm sure he's just a...
He's up for a Golden Globe this evening. That excites me. I can't wait till tomorrow to see if he won.
I got nothing against you, Dan. I think you're great. I really do. I think you're hilarious. But, oh my God, when you find your new thing, I can't wait. He'd probably be a little frightened.
Well, for a while it was Richard Ayoade.
Still kind of is.
Yeah.
You've got a list of
James Corden.
awkward white men. No, because Iowati isn't either. James Corden. I don't understand James Corden. Yeah.
But I also have...
All I know is none of them are me.
Well, no. That's...
Yeah.
You know,
None
you're
of them
in
are me.
there.
I'm in there. You're in there.
Maybe not number one, but...
No, I'm no Dan Levy. Hey.
But, yeah, OCD. We were talking about OCD. So, like, I mean, people who have that, this, you know, you'll hear... you'll be able to relate to some of the things we talk about. One of my worst OCD things that I'm going through right now is dermatillomania. Did I pronounce that correctly?
I don't know because you looked it up.
It's a skin picking disorder, and I've had it since I was 7 years old, but I have gone throughout my life for years without it being an issue. The last, I would say, 5 years, I can remember as far back as that, mentioning it to my last family doctor. And it's an OCD type of thing. And I also used to have trichomil in it. I'll have another drink. Trichoderma?
I don't know.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't. What is it?
Oh my gosh.
Forget it. What's it about?
Hair pulling.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but I I still sometimes pull my eyelashes and eyebrows, but it's not, really, really bad. But the skin picking thing for me is just my scalp, and I have gone to therapy. I've tried my own cognitive behavioral therapy. I've tried toques, ponytails, wearing socks on my hands when we're watching TV, because it seems to be something I do when I'm idle. I used to find if I was eating, a big bowl of popcorn, that it wouldn't happen.
The toque was the cutest phase. I miss the toque.
Well, now I've cut my fingernails down to the quick, so it makes it a little more difficult. But the problem is my scalp is inflamed and bleeds, and I've had to cancel hair appointments. And I thought it was like a stress thing, but I read a really interesting article not too long ago about a girl who had it as well, and she said something that resonated with me, and that was that it felt good. She did it because it felt good, and I thought, yeah, even though it hurts afterwards, my head really hurts and it's sore. It's almost like you've accomplished something. Like, you're just kind of playing with your hair. The next thing you know, you're digging at your scalp, and the next, there's, I don't know if it's because you want your scalp to feel perfect and you want to get rid of all the little bumps. I don't know, but
that sounds like OCD. Yeah.
Well, no, it is. I looked it up.
No.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like it.
But my point was that no matter what OCD meds I've ever had in my life, they've never broken through that.
No.
Why?
I don't know.
That's a question for my psychiatrist, I guess.
I guess, yeah. It would also have to do with, like, actually going to CBT training where someone can... No. I mean an actual CBT program in therapy where someone teaches you how to snap that chain of thoughts, and how to adjust that behavior as it's occurring, which you have not done.
But do you know what's funny? I don't think I want to.
No, I know.
Yeah, no,
I don't
but
find
that's
that funny.
No, odd. Like
I don't have that. Odd's a word.
Yeah.
Odd is a word. You have an aversion to therapy, kind of anyway. Like you're not really big on therapy, and things continue, and maybe the two are connected somehow in vague terms. That they have to.
Anyway, that was probably a tangent that doesn't even relate to what we're...
Such is the nature of the show, and
Yeah.
I would ask you to listen to the jingle because you're a mess. We're closing in on an hour.
Oh.
You didn't... So, can I just go through a quick list of stuff?
Yeah, I haven't let you talk very much.
Well, what else is new, though, really? I mean, you are the hostess.
With the most.
With the mostess.
Hostess, yes.
you have no sense of time anymore. That's yeah.
See,
Kiva agrees.
No, she's upset
No, she's
with
like,
you.
do you know how long we've been sitting here? Because Mom doesn't know how long an hour is.
I do. I can see the clock.
Yeah, you can see the clock
Yeah.
on the phone, but you sit down with your phone and you'll be like, I'm just going to be there in a minute, and 4 hours later, you're like, oh, is it 11? Like you don't have a sense of time anymore.
To be honest, I sometimes just don't have the energy to
Yeah, but
turn the phone off.
but you've also
and-
said I have to do X in 10 minutes, and then an hour later you're like, oh my God, what time is it?
I would have to disagree with you on that.
Would ya?
Yeah.
Well, there we go. First,
that's a hard
first
pass.
clash of the year. There's your conflict point in the story.
Now the drama begins.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bring out the claws. So, it's been a year of online doctors, online appointments, no MRIs. The neurologist appointments are delayed because there's backlog now for everything. I find that worrisome because we can't track any changes and we can only really go by symptoms. Right? And so symptoms, especially with MS, are kind of insidious. You don't really notice them getting worse until you've been like 3 weeks and you're saying, like, why is this happening? And then you realize, oh, because, maybe something has changed with the lesions in your brain. We do have a baseline MRI that I've kept pictures of so that I can help remind myself of which systems are affected and how. You are having more trouble making choices and decisions. Like, we used to joke about it years ago when we go out to McDonald's and you would read the menu and just not be able to pick something to eat. Or
That's our
menu.
fancy place of choice.
Well, we're on hiatus. Distractibility is worse. The fatigue is worse. The insomnia is still present. Pretty severe symptom flares when they do happen, especially in terms of mood swings. Holy cow!
No,
May I
yes.
just? Ooh,
I think you're very sensitive, and I don't think it's me.
no.
Oh.
Okay then.
I would have to beg to differ on this
Well,
one.
you can beg all you want, and we'll keep differing. Your tremor is much worse. Like, when you hold the fork and the thing is vibrating, that's worse than it was last year.
But yet it's not an everyday thing, but it shows up more often.
Yeah, and when it's there, it's bigger. It's a bigger deal. Some difficulty with context, I find. Like, you seem to have some trouble putting things in context. Like, if I'm talking to you about a thing, you tend to relate it to the last thing I was talking about instead of the new context that it is.
You don't think maybe you jump to a new subject without letting me know?
Oh, I probably do.
A lot.
Yeah. I'm not saying I don't, but I'm saying that oftentimes I've got to bring you with me a lot harder than I used to. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you're saying, but I
We're
don't.
going to beg to differ on that too.
Exactly.
That's interesting. A little bit of trouble reading people. So, like, I get it that I'm difficult to read anyway. Like,
Ask anyone who knows him. He has...
flat affect.
Yeah. It's what they call it, standing Brent face.
Resting Brent.
Standing.
If I'm standing, I'm at rest. Context, maybe?
No, I have a word. I'm not even
word.
pronouncing my words
You are,
properly
though.
this
You're
evening.
doing very well.
But no, I have word finding issues, which it's sometimes really funny.
Anyway, yeah, flat affect and resting Brent face, and so very difficult to read. But
This is after 25 years of marriage.
Yeah.
I still have to ask you.
yeah, that's my
Are
fault.
you joking?
I'll own that, and I can't really fix it. I tried, can't do it. But even with, like, watching TV shows and stuff, it seems like you have a little bit more difficulty reading people's intentions, like reading.
That's
reading
been
them.
going on for a while.
Yeah.
No, like
But it seems a bit.
I don't think it's worse. I think it was worse a while back. Like, personally, because I remember how frustrated I would get a few years ago. You would have to pause all the time and explain to me what was going on.
Yeah, but those were shows you were watching with really fast moving plots. Because I had trouble.
Like Homeland or...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I forget that last one we watched that was really busy.
Yeah.
And like I had to stop and explain it to you. Sons of Anarchy, I had to do that a lot.
Yeah.
But I didn't mind because I was summarizing and keeping track of things myself too. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, that still happens. But I personally don't feel as frustrated about it as I did a few years ago. But I do find that sometimes now when I'm watching TV, it's not about not being able to follow the plot. It's more about being distracted. All of a sudden I'll start thinking about my grocery list or something, and realize I've missed a whole, scene. And then I have to say to you, what? What's going on?
What just happened? Yeah. Yeah. And then the mood swings when they do kick in, and I find your Plegridy elevates that too. Your the drug that you take
my
it every
MS
2 weeks.
injection.
Yep. That really, man, that's a Jekyll and Hyde scenario sometimes. I don't know who I'm talking to.
No, I think...
I'm just being honest.
I think you exaggerate.
I don't think I'm exaggerating. You're in it. You're in the chowder. I'm outside the pot going, oh, geez, it's too hot. I need to turn it down now.
Yeah, but I think what happens is I get sad and depressed and cry, and I have flu-like symptoms, and but I don't think I'm like Jekyll and Hyde. I'm never I'm not really ever cranky or bitchy or...
I don't use those words.
Excuse that word.
I don't use those words. That's not what I mean. No, that's not what I'm saying. There was one time last week where you went from like hardcore sobbing crying, and within a couple hours, you were like...
Wearing a bird on my head?
No, that was the day, that was the day before. That was the day before.
Oh, yeah.
The Plastic Cardinal episode, where I was like, what's actually happening? But just, if I may point out, you were singing country songs with a red cardinal in your hair one day. The next day, it was like 3 hours of sobbing. But then an hour after that, you were eating fries, and we were watching a TV show that was making you laugh. So like up down, you know what I mean? And I'm not trying to take shots. Like I don't do that to you, right? You know that. But I do find the variance, the swing is like more profound than it used to be. But it seems to last for a shorter time, because it used to be like 3 days of this and 3 days of that. Mm-hmm. Whereas now it's like, oh, what are we today? And then tomorrow's better or not.
I don't think my personality changes.
I'm not saying it does.
Oh.
No, your personality is fundamentally the same.
Who are we dealing with today?
No, I don't think I said who. I think I said what.
Oh, okay.
What direction is this going? It feels like jujitsu.
All right.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm like left arm, right leg. What am I doing? And so that can be, it's been a year of that. That can be challenging. Right. But so be it. So be it. This is the way of the world.
Yeah. Yay me.
Yay us.
Yeah.
Yay us. We have an air fryer.
Oh my
big news.
Gosh.
If you don't have an air fryer,
if you
get an air fryer.
Yeah. Oh, I don't even know what to say. My life has changed.
Let me tell you something. If for any reason you're this doesn't sound right already, but if for any reason you're a guy and you don't know how to cook, listen to me.
Or a woman who doesn't know how to cook.
I can only speak from male perspective.
Okay.
Go get yourself a bag of baby potatoes and a steak. Throw that puppy in the air fryer. Take it out. You're going to think you're at a gourmet restaurant, and it's like it'll cook it from frozen. It's crazy. It's ridiculous. We got each other one for Christmas, and we've never looked back.
We didn't each get one. We got one to share.
We got each other one for Christmas.
That sounds like I got you one and you got me one.
Does it? Because if we had said we got one each for each other for Christmas, it doesn't. Whatever. I'm sorry.
Well, I just don't want to confuse people. We don't have 2 air fryers. That's what I'm trying to say.
We have an air fryer.
Yeah.
And we have an hour under our belt for episode 1, season 2.
I don't really feel like we've said everything.
Oh, we haven't. We have a whole season of things to say.
And I don't feel like, I don't know, we were as informative as we should be, but we're just trying to get everybody. Yeah.
We're just full of crap.
Yeah. Don't listen to us.
Don't listen to us. Don't share this. Don't like it. Don't comment on it.
Yeah.
You know. all the stuff.
But I really, really, really would love for someone, like, you don't have to know me.
Wow.
Whatever you tell me, guaranteed I'll forget it.
Except it's in writing.
I'm
but
the
whatever.
best person to tell a secret to, because
Okay.
so send off an email. Like, tell me your story. Are there things you'd like us to talk about? Like,
Yeah.
are there things you're going through in your relationship that maybe we can relate to?
Not help you with, because we ain't doing that. It's not that ain't our bag.
We're not marital therapists.
We're not even marital.
You had to go there.
That
Maybe
was really funny.
in our world.
That was really funny.
Oh, and we're parents of 20-somethings, by the way, who are
We were empty nesters until
COVID.
that thing happened. But we can get into that next show.
Yeah, that's
Okay, so bottom line is we're supposed to say a couple things about YouTube.
Yes.
1, if you like the thing, like the thing. 2, if you like the channel, subscribe to it, because that's great. And Leslie isn't going to believe how many people are going to subscribe to it, so it'd be really funny if you could prove me right and show her. And 3, share it.
Yeah.
Tell people about it. We really like to see people sharing this stuff and talking about it. We set up a new Instagram channel. Or no, Instagram page. Instagram.
Did we?
Instagram? Just Instagram.
You didn't tell me. I did not know this.
I did. Anyway, so it's specific to the show. So you can go to My Princess Has MS, all one word, I think. I'll find out. And you can find us on Instagram because it's there on the grams.
And we're at the Gmail.
And we're at the Gmails.
Well, you just said...
And the Gmails is My Princess Has MS, all one word, small caps, @gmail.com.
Small caps.
Small caps, not large caps.
There's no such thing as small caps. It's caps. Or it's small.
All small. All small.
This from the guy who ordered a Tai Chi latte at McDonald's.
You're still going to bring that up?
Anyway,
That was so 2019.
it still resonates
Priceless.
with people. Yeah.
Okay. You need some new material. I'm full of new material. I'm a laughing
You're
stock.
full of a lot of things.
I know.
Yeah. I think we need to go now.
When it comes down to insulting each other, we should probably vacate.
This might turn into an all-out brawl. Like, you know.
We might have a show like that.
Wouldn't that be funny?
I know. It'd be hilarious.
Be like Geraldo Rivera.
They're gonna
or-
break up now. Listen to the next episode.
Could it be? Like Oak Island. Are Brent and Leslie going to tear each other apart live on YouTube?
and get some listeners.
Whatever works.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much for listening to this if you
Yes.
have. And thank you for listening to the YouTube channel if you have. And we will see you next episode because apparently I'm getting a commitment.
I'm, you know, I might not be my full, wonderful, bubbly self, but I'll try to be there.
I have commitment issues, you know, so
I know. Yeah.
you need to, if you're going to say that.
He'll
gotta,
drag me there, or we'll do it in my bed.
Perfect. Episode 2 and scene.